A 12-foot long classified scale USS Flagg. Hey guys, Jay! Welcome back to the channel. Oh my gosh, everybody. This is something I never, ever thought I would see. At least not anytime soon, everybody. I gotta tell you, inevitably, whenever another Haslab, particularly G.I. Joe Haslab, has come and gone, I always get the question by many people asking, Jay, what do you think? Are we ever going to get a classified version of the USS Flagg? And to be perfectly honest with you, my regular answer was absolutely not. I always default to the idea that we're probably going to get a reissue or new remake of the USS Flagg vintage version, scaled up and of course remade for 2024. It might be just a tiny bit larger, probably maybe another half a foot, sorry, you know, another foot maybe, but I really did not expect that any sort of classified scale version of the Flagg would have ever been possible. Well, I gotta put my foot in my mouth because thanks to Rowdy Toys on YouTube, an actual 6-inch classified scale version of the Flagg has been made, everybody. Oh my gosh. Let's have a look at this, guys, because depending on how this plays out, I'm really not sure if Hasbro would be willing to take on a project this big. Thank goodness Derek has taken on the challenge. Let's have a look, everybody. Oh my god, guys. Somebody made a classified 6-inch scale USS Flagg. This is absolutely in-freaking-sane. Let me introduce the creator of this monstrosity, this beautiful beast. It is Rowdy Toys on YouTube, designing our childhood. These guys are absolutely wizards. They made something which everybody has been asking for the last number of years, ever since the first Haslab project for G.I. Joe was a success, and you can see the proof in the pudding. Look at the size of this beast. It's absolutely huge. Comparing it to its vintage counterpart, this thing is ridiculously huge. I mean, it's absolutely staggeringly massive. The superstructure alone is twice the size. The bow to stern, ridiculously long. And looking at it in its full form, I'm at a loss for words. I am absolutely at a loss for words. This thing is gorgeous, beautiful, incredibly impressive, and I gotta tell you, this is gonna be a wonderful look at this incredible project by Rowdy Toys. Huge shout out to them for making this incredible project a reality, and I just gotta tell you, you're in for a treat, everybody, because this is the look at the USS Flagg by Rowdy Toys. Let's have a look. First off, let's introduce the mad genius who made this thing happen. Oh my gosh, this is Derek of Rowdy Toys, and he is the creator of the 12-foot USS Flagg. Yes, 12 freaking feet long. This thing is an absolute beast, everybody. All 3D printed, all designed by Derek himself. And I gotta tell you, going through this is an absolute joy to go through, because I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this, a project like this. Huge congratulations to Derek for making this happen. This is absolutely insane. The video review starts off with a measurement tape strewn across the entire length of the USS Flagg. And as you can see, it passes 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, which is around the size of the original vintage USS Flagg. And it keeps going. 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet, 11 feet, and a whopping 12 feet, just shy of the 12-foot mark by about, I'd say, 3/18 of an inch. It's pretty much a 12-foot long USS Flagg, absolutely bonkers. Measuring the width is just as impressive. We move on from 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, which is the original width of the USS Flagg Vintage Edition, moving on to 4 feet, 6 inches wide. Holy crap, guys, that's absolutely crazy. And at its highest point from the superstructure, it goes from 1 feet, 2 feet, the original height of the USS Flagg, 3 feet tall, continuing on further down to 4.5 feet, just shy by 1 inch, 4 feet, 5 inches. This thing is an absolute beast. As we can see here, the Flagg takes over his entire living room. His wife must be a goddess because she allows this thing to live in their living room, at least for the shots of the video that they needed to take. But I also have to think that when constructing this thing, it must have taken a long time and a lot of quality time from the family to actually make this. So bravo to Derek's wife, partner in crime, because this is an absolute labor of love. And his partner is incredibly patient and of course must support him in everything he does, because this was just absolutely beautiful. Here we see some of the finer details, including the missile launcher at the top, some of the additional views of the superstructure, including the bridge. The geodo decals are wonderfully applied, and looking at the huge superstructure itself, we see the 99, the USS Flagg, and the antenna array right at the top. Just absolutely stunning. We can see here the portholes, along with the sealed hatches, the ladders moving up to the third balcony. Moving down slightly, we see the first runway level with an open porthole, sealed hatch door, the G.I. Joe emblazoned in its traditional colors to the actual runway itself. The decal work is impeccable. I love the way it looks, all those classic colors, the black and white markings for the runway, the white and yellow labels. We can see the brakes. We can see the brake line on the top of the runway, along with a tow hook, the crane and winch, and the runway just seems to go on forever and ever. It's absolutely ridiculous. Moving in closer to the inner side of the superstructure, we see what I believe to be a power generator. Pretty sure people in the comment section will tell me otherwise. Additional access ports, as well as a radar dish and communication tower. And looking at it again, I think this is actually part of the lower bow, as I'm sure a lot of people are already screaming at the screen to tell me. We see the USS Flagg emblazoned on the bottom portion just underneath that section, and then coming back to the front, we do see the launch pad with the blast doors up to help propel Sky Strikers as they're preparing to launch. And I love the fact that he's put on a wonderful seascape just to give us some atmosphere while the video is playing. The runway continues to impress with all of the decals on the top of the runway, the red and white markings, along with the 99 right at the front, signifying the identification number of the USS Flagg. And this wonderful pan shot of the brake tow line catching one of the Sky Strikers and holding it in position. Switching to the reverse angle, we do see the crane along with its hook, and we even catch a glimpse of some of Derek's G.I. Joe collection in the background, along with the original USS Flagg living in the shadow of this gigantic beast. Coming up further, we get to see the antenna array all the way at the top of the superstructure, as well as a final look in detail of the missile launcher at the very top of the superstructure one more time. On the side of the ship, we do see the captain's yacht, which can double as an escape vessel for anyone who needs to leave the ship. The two winches which are holding it in place are able to retract and descend to lower it into the water. The lower portion where that radar dish was, the staircase leads back up onto the runway, where the refueling station is being towed by the number 6 towing vehicle. Huge shout out to Rowdy Toys for this overview, but let's take a closer look at some of the particular details for the USS Flagg. As we saw earlier, the number 6 tow vehicle along with the refueling station number 4 are wonderfully recreated from the original vehicles. As a matter of fact, here is a direct comparison of the tow vehicles. We can see here in this direct comparison just how different in size these two really are. The refueling stations or fuel trailers are also scaled up, and you can see just how much detail there is in both of the incarnations. The Flagg cannon on the other side of the ship looks wonderfully reproduced, along with the missile radar. Here we have a display of the original bow from the vintage version and its recreation made by Derek. There are some differences, but I think that they've been wonderfully recreated, giving it a new look while at the same time keeping the spirit of the original intact. The original blast door can be seen here with all its wonderful details, along with the cooling systems and electronics. Scaled up, you can see even more wonderful detail. As a matter of fact, the grading system at the top seems even more pronounced, and along with those decals, which help to give it that final touch. The original Flagg arrest hook seems small in comparison to its bigger brother for the classified version of the arrest hook. Seeing them side by side, you really can't see just how much bigger or smaller they really are. The arrest gear, along with its tow cable, are classic in the way they have been reproduced here with the classified version of the same make. It's interesting that Derek used the same twine instead of increasing the gauge to make it more scaled up, if you will, along with the rest of the details. Still, it's a wonderful look at how these can be reproduced in a much larger scale. The original G.I. Joe Flagg logo on the vintage version has stayed intact for the most part, whereas the newest version on the 6-inch scale edition looks pristine and wonderfully recreated in the original colors. The rear cannon for the original Flagg is dwarfed by its bigger, classified version, but still retains all of its wonderful details. The missile radar also looks quite small compared to its bigger brother. The captain's yacht, or Flagg skiff, as we saw earlier, in its larger formation. As a matter of fact, scaling it up, it actually looks like there's less detail in this version compared to the original, which is kind of ironic, seeing as this one definitely could add more detail if they really wanted to. I suppose there's still time, as this is a 6-inch prototype for the most part. The original crane actually looks a little bit on the flimsy side. Of course, it is over 40 years old at this point, whereas the classified version looks pretty beefy and can take a little bit more of a beating in my opinion. It is interesting that, once again, Derek has chosen to use the same gauge of twine instead of beefing it up just a little bit, as I think that really would have been a much better aesthetic for this larger size of the Flagg. Derek takes a moment here to demonstrate how the crane works, and it looks beautiful in its operation. Scaled up, it looks even more impressive. The original Fantail of the USS Flagg was a little bit of a pain for many collectors, as the guardrail would always be the first thing to go missing, in many cases right out of the box, as many collectors would either lose it thinking it's part of the clipping tree, or it would break off in many occasions. The details back here for many of the machining parts were well designed even back then, along with the radar array. Scaled up, it really is a wonderful example of how much detail is in this Fantail, and as you can tell, the guardrail is wonderfully intact. As a matter of fact, it looks better than it ever has. I'm sure many people who actually have a Flagg probably don't even recognize this, as it's the first thing to be broken in many cases. The American flag on one side is wonderfully reproduced in this larger scale, and on the other side, the G.I. Joe flag, honor, duty, and courage, is once again massively recreated with the new G.I. Joe emblem. The swiveling net radar looks very thin in the original vintage version, whereas the scaled up version is much more substantial and really looks great pivoting left and right. The antenna array at the top from the vintage version is classic, and scaled up it looks even better. The missile launcher at the top always had wonderful details etched into the design, and those details are wonderfully transferred over into the much larger scaled version for the classified series. Derek really has paid a lot of attention to the overall details and added a small bit of flair of his own in the final design. And just like the original missile launcher, it's able to pivot, rotate, and the missiles are able to launch at will. Scaling it up, you really can see the size difference, as Derek's hands seem almost minuscule compared to the size of the launcher and the missiles themselves. Doing a scale comparison of the missiles, you really can tell just how much bigger this Flagg really is. Moving on to the superstructure itself, in the rear section, along with the radar dome, the superstructure's bottom half, wonderfully recreated in its 6-inch structure. And it's interesting to see that Derek has actually simplified certain details rather than make them more pronounced. The upper Flagg room, the lower room, the missile rack, communications panel, which has those additional details on the screens, the combat computer with the HUD retaining all those wonderful details, and the original bridge flag, as we covered earlier, wonderfully recreated in the 6-inch scale, along with all the richly detailed and really bringing everything to life in this larger format. The Flagg helm is able to spin and is recreated in the classified version. Panning out, we really can see this labor of love, scaled up to the delight of its creator. But seeing the scaled up version, just how well does it size with 6-inch figures? Looks like Derek has put together a full battle scene on top of the USS Flagg. Somehow, Cobra has boarded the USS Flagg, and all of the G.I. Joes are in full combat. We can see Serpentor leading the forces of Cobra in an all-out assault on the USS Flagg. Let's take a closer look at some of the finer details and see how well this scales with the classified figures. Right off the bat, we can see that the Vamp is right on top of the flight deck, being attacked by multiple Cobra assailants, including a power suit. Bazooka's on the ledge of the runway, and you can see just how small Bazooka is compared to the front cannon of the USS Flagg. Zorana looks like she could easily fit in the number 6 towing vehicle. Junkyard seems to be doing battle with Serpentor's Cobra and Crocmaster's little pet on top of the railway, and the vintage version of the Sky Striker seems to be dwarfed when put up against the Viper Island Cobra troopers. We can see Cobra Commander has taken over the bridge and is laughing at the entire situation, whereas the rest of the Joes are still in combat. Destro and Spirit are battling it out at the top of the superstructure. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are in mortal combat as they usually are, and the Cobra Stinger seems to be on its way to lend support. Serpentor is barking orders like normal. To give us a better sense of scale, we can see here that the Dreadnought Ripper is actually trying to prevent Outback from climbing onto the secondary railing, whereas the Crimson Twin Marines have already made it to the 3rd level of the USS Flagg. The Iron Grenadiers are also in tow, and to give you a really good sense of scale, we can see Barbecue coming out of one of the hatches to take on Torch, while Scarlet takes on some suppressing fire, knocking over the Baroness. Gung Ho, with his BMFG, is able to take down 2 battle android troopers. You really can tell that the size of the USS Flagg at the scale is absolutely enormous, seeing as this many G.I. Joes are battling it out in close quarters combat on equipment, computers, bridge, and we can even see that Cobra Commander, who had thought he had superiority on the bridge, was actually taken out by Gung Ho the Marine himself. We couldn't cover everything that was in this battle sequence, and I really do encourage you guys to head over to Rowdy Toys on YouTube to see exactly how that battle played out. This has been an incredible look at a work of art by Derek of Rowdy Toys, and you guys definitely have to take a look at all the videos covering this incredible work. Huge shout out to Derek for making this happen. Looks like the ball is in Haslab's court now, as the proof of concept for the USS Flagg classified scale 12-foot long playset has been fully realized and now lives in the living room of Rowdy Toys. Congratulations again, Derek. This is absolutely incredible. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is crazy, guys. This is absolutely nuts. I can't believe that somebody actually took on the challenge of making a 12-foot long 6-inch scale classified version of the USS Flagg. I can't believe it. Huge shout out to Derek over at Rowdy Toys. My friend, you did it. You made this happen. You made this reality, because I don't know anybody else who could have pulled this off. Oh my gosh. This is absolutely ridiculous. My mind is absolutely blown. I cannot believe how well it scales with the 6-inch figures, and of course, how big it actually is in real life. 12 feet long and 5.5 inches high. I cannot freaking believe this. Derek, my friend, you've pulled off a masterpiece, and I'm so glad that you put it on YouTube for everybody to watch. Guys, please make sure to head over to Rowdy Toys on YouTube. You've got to give him a like and a follow. You've got to appreciate this for your very own. This, of course, was just a quick overview of what you can actually experience on his channel. As a matter of fact, there are many things which I did not cover on this video, which I think you should definitely take a look on his video. He deserves way more attention than this, as I think everybody should find out more and learn more about this incredible project that he's put together. I wonder if it's possible to actually get him to commission a few pieces, because I know a few people who are just a little bit nuts enough to want to order something this big. Guys, let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts about the USS Flagg by Rowdy Toys? Are you guys as blown away as I am about this? Because I just had no idea this was even possible. Are any of you guys crazy enough to actually order one of these things if Derek is going to be taking pre-orders? Or is this absolutely too freaking big and you have nowhere to put it? Let me know in those comments in the comment section below, guys. This is an incredible revelation, and I cannot believe that this actually happened in 2024. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please do leave me a like. It really does help me out. And if you enjoyed this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post up to 2 episodes a week and hope you guys enjoy. Guys, G.I. Joe just continues to surprise. The fans are doing it better in many cases than the companies themselves. And this is just a testament to that innovation and passion that the fans have for the action figures that they grew up with. And huge, huge congratulations to Derek. Once again, you did it, my friend. I hope one day to be able to maybe take a look at this Flagg up close and personal. But in the meantime, I am looking at other playsets and dioramas, which I'm helping to produce with my good friend Danny Green. You can take a look at some of our videos right here as we're taking a really deep dive into some local creators who are doing some amazing work in dioramas, miniatures, and of course, custom action figures. You can take a look at that video right here, guys. I'll see you there. What a way to cap off the holiday season, everybody. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates it. Good journey. Geek proud, everybody.